Guys, look at this delicious chicken soup recipe. Hey, when I show you how to make this one, you are going to have a new one for your recipe file. This is delicious. Well, howdy folks. Welcome to Texas Cooking Today. I'm Stuart Trotter, your host. Today we're going to be preparing some wonderful, delicious food. And what you're watching here, this is one of my tutorials. So if you're looking for all of the answers and all of the details about this recipe, you found the right video. If you just need the recipe, watch the previous episode. That's what that is. And thank you very much for watching. Now, let's get into this. Well guys, as you have seen at the very beginning of this, it is a beautiful chicken soup. Now something I wanted to do today was to film for you a recipe in development. Okay, so today, this isn't a recipe that's already been done. This is a recipe that we're going to develop together right in the kitchen. And so this is what I do. I develop recipes. I do this all of the time. I've been doing it for decades and I'm good at it. All right, so what we're going to do today, we're going to make a chicken soup. It's going to be incredibly good. How do I know this? I know my flavors, okay? I know what I'm using. I know how they combine, and I know how much of each to use to pull off something really, really good like what we're about to do. So guys, this is going to be a very beautiful, delicious chicken soup. It's full of really good ingredients, lots of fresh ingredients. So let's get in the kitchen and I want to show you some wonderful tricks and tips about making a fabulous chicken soup. Let's go. All right guys, here we are. I've got a couple of Cornish hens down in this pot down here, and that's going to be perfect for this. I like the delicate meat and it's going to be just right. It's also what I had hanging around. I didn't want to go out and just buy chicken, and I keep these things in my freezer, so it's not an issue. I can pull them out and make this anytime I want. Now, in addition, I've got some onions and carrots and lime and garlic, thyme, tarragon and salt, and we're going to get busy combining these in just the right way to make for a very delicious dish. But the first thing I have to do is we have to get that meat cooking. So I'm going to put some hot water in my pot, put a flame underneath it, and we'll start the chicken while we get started doing our cutting on the vegetables. Now, this won't be too hard. Let's get right at it. To get this started, we need a flame under it and plenty of hot water. That was about 10 cups of water right there, guys, to cover those two little birds. Well, there's nothing special about this cutting, guys. We just have to get these carrots cut down into some nice bite-sized pieces. And what I'm looking for is about 1/4 inch thick pieces. So just chop up your carrots and we'll get them down in that soup. Nothing really special on these onions. I'm just going to top them, remove the outer layer that's going to be kind of papery and dry. Yeehaw. Then we'll get busy cutting them up. Now these onions, this isn't going to be really difficult. We've of course topped them and removed that outer paper. Let's just go ahead at this point, remove the root. There we are. I want to cut the onion in half, straight down on each one of them. Just like that. Now on that, I want to take it and cut each of those halves in half. See how I'm doing that? From there, all I have to do is cut simple slices out of these, and I have perfect onions for my soup. There we have it. Onions ready for our soup. And guys, on these limes, it's not going to be hard at all. All I have to do here is just to half these. And then 1/4. Boy, that smells good. We need to get our garlic ready and our thyme ready. Now the garlic, if you'll notice, I'm just going to remove that paper very simply. As you see how I'm doing that, very easy way of doing it. Just gently twist back and forth, not hard enough to break the meat as you see, but when you hear that paper crackle, that means it just came loose from the meat underneath. Now on this garlic, we're not going to mince it, slice it, or anything like that. I'm just going to crush it in a little bit to throw it right down in that soup. Now guys, when you're dealing with fresh herbs and you don't really know exactly how much you want to use, all you need to do is just make a small bouquet for those herbs. And what I want to do is I want to take a little string, and if I can get myself under control, there we go, tie that off. And what this does for you is it allows you to throw your herbs down in the pot, and when you're finished cooking or you get the desired flavor you're looking for, you can grab that string and pull it right back out. This can be tied to the handle of your pot. When you start cooking up chicken like this, you will often get something that looks like this. Just go ahead and remove that from the top of that soup. We don't need it cooking back down in there. It will do nothing for us. You may have to do this a couple of times. All right, guys, we have the birds in there cooking. I'm going to go through and remove that scum just one more time, and then I'm going to get busy putting in all of our other ingredients. Now, it's so important. This is called your setup method. And a setup method has everything ready to go before you start really getting into your cooking. And that makes everything just so much easier when it comes right down to it. I'll start with our carrots, onions. You see, guys, there's no secret to this. It's very simple. These, oh, no, not just yet. Yeah, we'll put those in a little bit. This goes in now, and I'm going to take my string. It's not like you have to do a majestic job of tying this off, guys. You know, it's not going to go flying off anywhere. Okay, so I have my way of pulling my herbs back out of there. And then there was that 1 teaspoon of tarragon that we needed. So right there, 1 teaspoon of tarragon. I had to go with dry tarragon because I couldn't find any fresh in the middle of winter here in Dallas. Well, actually, I just didn't travel enough, I guess, but the store I went to didn't have it right now. Okay, at this point, I'm going to cover this, bring it back to a boil, then I want to reduce it to a low heat and simmer it until the chicken falls off of the bone. And at that point, we will then pull those chickens out. We'll remove the meat and finish processing our soup. When it comes to our garlic, all we have to do is just crush the garlic, and it doesn't have to be anything special or pretty because it's going to get cooked down real well. Put all that in my pot. There we go. And guys, let's go ahead and add a little bit of salt right up in here too. We'll put in about 1/2 to 3/4 of a teaspoon to begin with. There we are, guys. Now, once we get that down in there, I want to give it a light stir just to get everything worked in. Get our garlic down in there. And I can leave that little garnish of herbs sitting right on top. That way it's easy to pull out, okay? So there it is, guys. Not a really difficult thing to get started, as you've seen here. All we have to do at this point is just give this some time. I'm going to put a lid on it, lower that temperature again, and it's going to simmer. All right. I am looking forward to that. I didn't put that lime in too early because here's the thing. I don't want just the acid from the lime. I also want some of the oils from that from the outer part of the lime, that skin. And those oils are really going to enhance this. But if I leave that in there very long, those oils are going to really mess with my dish. So when you're handling a citrus fruit like this and you're doing it with the rind still on it, with that peel still in place, then you want to go ahead and use that citrus late in your cooking, not early. Otherwise, you might end up regretting it. Okay? So, anyway, guys, this is how I develop recipes. You're seeing it right here. This is development stage. So I just decided to film what I normally do in recipe development. Okay? Now, would I post this if it was bad? Oh, you better believe it. Every bit I would post this if it was bad. And the reason behind that is because if it's bad, you need to see why it's bad and what I would do to correct it. That's all there is to it. So anyway, I think I'm going to have a fabulous soup come out of this one, mostly because I know my ingredients and I know my flavors and how to combine them. And this one is going to be a delicious chicken soup. Guys, this has been cooking now for about an hour and a half. So I'm going to cut this string and pull this right out of my pot. I need to remove my chickens from the broth. So very gently with a spoon and tongs, pull each of the birds out. And they will break apart at this time, guys. When they've been cooked this long, they get pretty tender. Now what I'm going to let these do is have a little bit of time to cool down just enough so that they can be handled. Once they're cool enough to handle, I'm going to then take my chickens and strip the bones of their meat, and then we will take that wonderful meat, put it right back down into our stock, and we'll get on with making this soup. These have had about 20 minutes to cool. The next part of this is simple enough, guys. All I need to do is pull this bird apart, which it will come apart very easily. And what I want to do is I want to take all of that meat and we're just going to shred it, and I'm going to put the meat right back down into my pot. Okay? You don't have to just rip at it, but just kind of break it into some pieces each that would fit in a spoon really well. And that's what you want. Okay, so I'm going to do all of my meat that way. Now anything that's cartilage, skin, bone, that kind of stuff, that's not going to be in my soup. So just take the time to work that out gently, and that way you don't have to worry about anything being funky or strange that's down in your soup. There we are. I'm just now finishing up that last breast from that second chicken, and you're going to see that was quite a bit of meat. Okay, so even though those birds look little, don't underestimate what they can give you, because that can be quite a bit. Now all of this right back into our stock. All right, guys, I put a flame back under this again. This is where we're going to put in our lime, okay? And I'm not going to use all of my lime, but I'm going to use quite a bit of it. We'll save a few pieces back, a little over a half of one, and that will be used for garnish. So that part right there needs to cook in with the rest of it. I'll bring it back up in temperature, and then we're going to work on the body of the soup. Guys, our soup has broken a boil. Now, as I mentioned just a little bit ago, I want to develop more body in the dish. And what I mean by that is I want it to not be so viscous. I want it to be a little bit thicker. So what do I need to do to thicken a soup like this? Well, in this case, I have chosen to use cornstarch. Now, cornstarch is a great thickener, doesn't really have any flavor to it, and it works wonderfully. So what I want to do is mix a little cornstarch in cold water, and this is important. Don't try to pour just cornstarch into it and try to mix it in. That won't work. It'll just clump up on you and make a mess. And don't try to mix hot water with your cornstarch. Again, the same problem. It'll just lump up. But it will mix well with cold water, so do it that way. Now come over, let's get this done, and we're going to turn this thin liquid that's beautiful looking into a nice thick chicken soup. Now let's get our cornstarch right down here. Pour water in this. I've got cold water. At first it will want to sink to the bottom and it'll feel like it's very hard. Give it a moment, it will go ahead and dissolve. Just be patient with it. Alright guys, let's get our thickener in here. Now you don't want to just pour this in, you need to mix it in. Now as I bring this back to a boil, that is going to thicken beautifully. Now guys, at this point, you're going to want to take a spoon. Always use a spoon to taste your product. Do you need any salt added, any seasoning? That is very good. And yes, I'm adding salt. And guys, I want to give this 10 more minutes at a low simmer. And at that, I'm then going to pull these limes out and it's ready to be served. Guys, this soup is thickened up, finished up, and ready to be served up. So I'm dropping the heat. And let's pull up a bowl of this beautiful, majestic soup. Fantastic soup. I've already tasted this. The flavors are just remarkable. It is so sweet, so delicious. And now let's do a little garnish on this just to finish it off, and that will be good. Beautiful, beautiful bowl of soup. I want to take this soup, I want to pluck the leaves from some cilantro and drop that down in there, just very gently. Let it just be random. And it doesn't have to be a lot of it. And then a fresh squeeze of that lime over the top. There it is. Okay guys, let's go over the ingredients that we have for this recipe. That's going to be 2, yes, count them right down in that pot there, 2 Cornish hens. Those are fairly heavy ones. Those are 22-ounce Cornish hens. So what I have there is about 2.5 pounds of bird, okay? Also, 2 onions, 6 medium carrots, a couple of small limes, some thyme, about 5 to 6 cloves of garlic to your taste, salt, and some tarragon. On that tarragon, we're going to be using about a teaspoon in there. So there you have it, guys. A beautiful, beautiful dish. And as far as how much of that thyme, we're just going to make a few sprigs, 3 or 4 sprigs, and then we cook it until it's the right flavor, as you've seen. So that's all there is to this. Very, very simple and delicious recipe. Guys, there that is. A beautiful, beautiful. Oh, yeah. That's lovely. So sweet. Think about it. It's got all the sweet stuff in it. Onion is sweet. Carrot is sweet. The herbs, both types of herbs that I used in it are sweet herbs. Guys, this is just a really good dish. It's rich, it's full-bodied, it has fantastic flavor. The slight amount of acid from the lime in the background is perfect. It's just right. So about 15 minutes of cooking with lime is all it took. That was it. And the rest is just beautiful, delicious soup. Wait till you try this recipe. Thank you very much, guys, for watching Texas Cooking Today and for this episode. And hey, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe. Take a look at my channel. You'll find some really neat stuff there. And again, I do appreciate you watching. You folks have a good day. Bye-bye. Well, there it is, guys. Texas Cooking Today tutorial. Thank you very much for watching this show and for watching Texas Cooking Today. If you would, please go to my channel. Check out what I have there. There's some wonderful recipes and some great tutorials waiting for you to try. Again, thank you very much.